7 p.m. The council meeting of June 2nd, 2020 will now please come to order. Due to this meeting being a virtual meeting, council is asking if anyone that would like to address council who is participating through your computer, please use the chat feature now to let Clerk Massaro know that you have a comment and that you will be called on during the comment portion of the meeting. If you are calling on a phone and do not have access to the chat feature, we will be giving directions during the public comment portion of our meeting for you to participate. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mrs. Jones.
Here.
Mr. Broussard.
Present.
Mr. Glassburn.
Here.
Ms. Heeman.
Here.
Mr. Kelly.
Here.
Mr. Limpert.
Present.
Mr. Schuman.
Here.
Ms. Williamson.
Here.
Mayor Kennedy, do you have a report this evening?
No, Madam President, no report.
Thank you. Law Director Garreau, do you have a report this evening?
Thank you, Madam President. Just a couple of comments. First, the Charter Review Commission, as I mentioned last time, I believe, completed its work. You should have received a copy of the report from the Charter Review Commission. To note that your next step is to determine what additional action will be taken, whether those recommendations will be acted on or not. I think in the past we've gone ahead and proceeded with the council as a whole, kind of giving direction to me as to what pieces of legislation you wish to have drafted, rather than draft them all and kind of do an a la carte. So if you can at some point take give me some direction on that through an appropriate means, committee of the whole, what have you, that would be most appreciated. Note that it is due to be passed by August 5th. You're going to need to have an emergency clause on these if you're going to make the either suspend or emergency, one or the other, because if you do 3 readings in 30 days, you're going to run out of time, particularly because you're not in July, so unless you come back to take action on this. So please know that in advance of the discussion, that if you're going to make that deadline, you're going to have to do one or the other or both moving forward. The other thing is just a quick note I thought was interesting. Down in Columbus, House Bill 252 has passed the Senate's Local Government, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs Committee. That had previously passed the Ohio House last year. That will bring back into focus the plastic bag ban that was in effect, and the fact that it is an attempt by the State House, as was promised, to stop home rule municipalities or counties from enacting any type of a restriction on this type of use. And it goes further than that. It's not just plastic bags, it's forks, straws, you name it. So it's out there, it's floating around still, and I'm pretty sure because it passed the House and Senate, some version of it will pop out very soon, and we'll probably see that take effect. But I just wanted to tell you that I was watching it and found it notable, and when it passes, which I think it will, I will certainly let you know. Thanks. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Director. And we will be scheduling a committee of the whole meeting once council receives that report. Thank you so much. Director Kupfer, do you have a report this evening?
Oh, yes, I do, Madam President. I'm sure you're probably focusing on some of the things that you get being council people and administrators. That amended Senate Bill 310 was passed by the Senate, but it has not, it's still in the House for Ohio. It is to the methodology and distribution of Section 5001 of the Federal CARES Act. It discusses how municipalities are going to get funds through the county and what purposes they're for. And you have to set up a special fund And there are situations where it can be for wages and benefits, but it has to be for substantive COVID emergency response individuals. So there are going to be items, and it also cannot supplant any funds that we already had in the budget. Meaning, if things were in our budget before March 27th of this year, and we said we were going to buy X, and then we said, oh, well, that's being used for COVID, but we were already going to buy X, then you can't request that as a reimbursement for the COVID funds. It's still in the House, and there's still things that might change, but I'm keeping an eye on it for us, as I'm sure you are too. March and April financial statement summary and details were sent via email. I wanted to make sure that you note that the budget reductions were not passed until May, so you won't see them in the reports in the individual line items. Also, later today, April key indicators report was sent to council and the administration with an accompanying narrative. If you have any questions or concerns and you want to get a hold of me, that's great. Or if you want to have a separate meeting, that's fine too. Also, the state budget for their next fiscal year, which starts July 1st, has a $2.5 billion budget hole, and their budget's $69.8 million. So that's about a 3.6% budget cut that they're still looking for. So we'll keep an eye on that, and hopefully, I mean, obviously theirs is a lot. They have a lot of sales tax associated with it, but they also rely on income tax, and that's one of our big concerns too. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Director Kopfer. Moving into council committee reports, Councilmember Sard, Chairman of the Public Safety, Health, and Welfare Committee, do you have a report this evening?
Yes, I do, Madam President. The Public Safety, Health, and Welfare Committee met on Tuesday in the cloud on Tuesday, May 19th, beginning at 7:21 p.m. Present were all members of council, as well as Council President Jones, the mayor, directors Kopfer, Gallo, Glonner, and Lieber were also present and guests. We discussed the city's response to the COVID-19 crisis. Very thorough conversation regarding policies and procedures at City Hall, Springvale, the Rec Center, for Mayor's Court, just to name a few. And so fitness stations will be spread out and sanitized. Recreation Commissioner Betsy Drensky is in touch with Governor DeWine's staff regarding fitness guidelines. CDC guidelines for temperature checks will be followed to ensure that no visitors are registering above 100.3 degrees Fahrenheit. There will be one-way enter and exits at these facilities. And in general, the city is following the Cuyahoga County guidelines from their Board of Health. After a thorough discussion, the meeting adjourned at 7:45 p.m. and that'll conclude my report.
Thank you. Councilwoman Williamson, Chairwoman of the Building, Zoning, and Development Committee, do you have a report this evening?
I do, Madam President. Thank you so much. The Building, Zoning, and Development Committee met this evening at 7 p.m. Present were committee members Limpert, Schuman, and Williamson, council members Broussard, Glassburn, Keeman, and Kelly, our council president, planning and development director, the mayor, safety service director, human resources director, the applicants, and guests. On the agenda were two items. First being Dunkin Donuts, which is CMS 19-13405, located at 5581 Stearns Road. The applicants proposed to construct a new drive-through restaurant in the portion of the lot north of the existing Rite Aid building. The area between the existing and proposed building is being reserved for potential future development. The building is just under 2,400 square feet. The project involves a disruption to a significant number of existing mature trees on the site. Landscape buffers are included for the new development area adjacent to the commercial property to the east and the residentially zoned property to the north. Streetscape plantings are proposed along the entire Stearns Road frontage. The applicant proposed a new curb cut from Stearns Road. The city required a traffic study to be completed, and the plans have incorporated the recommendations of the traffic engineer. The right-of-way will be modified at the applicant's expense to allow for a left turn lane on southbound Stearns leading up to the curb cut. A right turn lane northbound Stearns Road will be constructed. The curb cut will allow traffic to enter from both directions, while vehicles exiting at Stearns may only turn right. Stormwater will be managed primarily through an added underground storage system located just north of the new Stearns Road curb cut. The lighting plan is code compliant. A motion was made to recommend approval of this project with the conditions of the Planning and Design Commission, and that vote passed with a vote of 3-0. Madam President, at this time, I would like to move to approve CMS 19-13405 Dunkin Donuts located at 5581 Stearns Road, subject to the conditions of the Planning and Design Commission, and ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to approve CMS 19-13405 made by Councilwoman Williamson, seconded by Councilman Limpert. Roll call, please.
Ms. Williamson? Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Mr. Broussard?
Yes.
Ms. Seaman?
Yes.
Mr. Glassburn?
No.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Schuman?
Yes.
CMS 19-13405 is approved with a vote of 6-1.
The next item on the agenda was CMS 2016191 for Nissan located at 28596 Lorraine Road. This proposal is to expand their parking lot for inventory storage and install a new stormwater management system in the rear of the property. The project was previously approved by City Council in 2010, but did not proceed, and the approvals expired. The majority of existing trees in the expansion area will be removed for the parking lot. New landscape plantings will fill in the buffer zone area between the fence and the property line. A new wood board-on-board fence is proposed, which will be 10 feet high to match the neighboring fence at Mercedes. The neighbors will be consulted before the landscape plan is finalized. No new lighting is proposed for the expanded parking lot. A motion was made to recommend approval of this project with the conditions of the Planning and Design Commission, and that motion passed with a vote of 3-0. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve CMS 2016191 Nissan located at 2.
Second.
Motion to approve CMS 2019191 made by Councilwoman Williamson, seconded by Councilman Schuman. Roll call, please.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Schuman?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Ms. Seaman?
Yes.
Mr. Broussard,
Yes.
CMS 2016191 has been approved with a vote of 7-0.
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you. Councilman Schuman, Chairman of the Finance Committee, do you have a report this evening?
No report this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Limpert, Chairman of the Streets and Transportation Committee, do you have a report this evening?
I do have a report this evening, Madam President. Thank you. The Streets and Transportation Committee met on 26 May at 7:13 p.m. Present were committee members Limpert, Kelly, Glassburn, council members Jones, Broussard, Schuman, Williamson, Heeman, the Mayor, Law Director, Finance Director, Safety Service Director, Planning Director. On the agenda were ordinances 2020-45 and Resolution 2020-58. Regarding ordinance 2020-45, Director Lieber noted this ordinance is the assessment of for the unpaid amounts due for the 2019 sidewalk program. These have been sidewalks repaired around August of 2019 and that were identified during our inspection sweep of the fall of 2018. The city had cited about 742 properties. 475 of those were fixed by property owners and 267 were then repaired by the city contractor. The program has had a good voluntary payment so far, and I think it contained 82 properties that are still outstanding for assessment. Some payments are still coming in. We received some as late as the week 18th of May. So the final list will remove anyone that have made the payment since this legislation was created. The city had provided courtesy notices to homeowners, and they provided the notifications as required by the state. There was some discussion around a section 3609 of the RFC that allowed adoption of an assessment ordinance by city council that could span out the number of installments for which the amount would be paid. And the committee agreed that this should be paid over 3 installments. That motion passed by a vote of 3-0 on ordinance 2020-45. Next on the agenda was resolution 120. Mr. Glauner noted that this is an agreement we have with the city for maintenance and that we can maintain or rejuvenate county roads and get reimbursed for the material costs. Still have to pay for labor, but they're willing to reimburse us for materials, and it's beneficial in order to extend the roads within our city. Total amount between for this year's reimbursement was $27,309, and the motion to approve resolution 2020-58 was approved 3-0. The meeting concluded at 7:21 p.m. Madam President, this completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you need to amend your legislation 2020-45, Councilman?
Yes, I believe I do for the 3 installments. Thank you for
Sure.
notifying that. At this time, I'd like to amend resolution, resolution 2020-45 to add a note that the payments would occur over 3 installments. Can I ask for a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Kelly. Thank you. Motion to amend ordinance 2020-45 made by Councilman Limpert, seconded by Councilman Kelly. Roll call, please.
Mr. Limpert,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Schuman,
Yes.
Mr. Glassburn,
Yes.
Ms. Heeman,
Yes.
Mr. Broussard,
Yes.
Ms. Williamson. Ms. Williamson.
I believe her lips
Yes.
are, yes.
Yes.
Ordinance 2020-45 is amended with a vote of 7-0. Thank you, Councilman Lippert. Councilwoman Heeman, Chairwoman of the Environmental Control Committee, do you have a report this evening?
I do. Thank you, Madam President. The Environmental Control Committee met on May 26th at 7:47 to discuss Resolution 2020-59, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a mutual aid agreement with Ohio WARN, a statewide water/wastewater agency response network, parentheses, acronym WARN, WARN. Present were committee members Heeman, Glassburn, and Williamson, Council President Jones, council members Broussard, Kelly, Limpert, Schuman, the mayor, the law director, finance director, safety service director, planning director, our engineer, Mr. DeFranco, Mr. Bloom from the wastewater treatment plant, and we did have a guest that is on the record that evening, Mrs. Nancy Brewer. Director Glonner led us through the agreement for the project. And what this is, it's actually a new project, that new agreement. So it's a multi-city response network to water and wastewater issues that might come up. Director Glonner discussed that the agreement makes no mandatory requirement on the city to make a response. While we might be asked, we are not required to respond, that response would be voluntary. I did go to the website to look at it, and since it's pretty new, I couldn't really tell who all the member cities were, but it did seem well supported and has no negative effect on our city. A motion was made by Chairperson Heeman to recommend this to council, seconded by Vice Chair Glassburn. The motion passed 3-0. Next on the agenda was not a resolution, just a general discussion with regard to some of the city's drainage issues, which have come to the forefront recently. So there was a discussion regarding vacant parcels that are currently owned by the Ohio Department of Transportation, and also some others that are currently owned by the North Olmsted City School District. And after a lengthy discussion, a general decision was made that the Environmental Committee would draft a letter of support on behalf of all of council as a collective governing body to support the pursuit of purchasing those properties, either from ODOT or from the City of North Olmsted Schools. And that letter was drafted and circulated today to all of council, and a copy of that draft will be attached to this committee report. And so we will move forward with that letter based on collective comments, a redistribution of another draft, and then the final sign off on the letter by all those council members interested in participating in that letter. And the meeting concluded at 8:34. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Councilman Glassburn, Chairman of the Intergovernmental Relations Committee, do you have a report this evening?
No report this evening, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Kelly, Chairman of the Recreation, Public Parks and Buildings Committee, do you have a report this evening?
I do. Thank you, Madam President. The Recreation, Public Park and Building Committee meeting was called to order on May 26, 2020 at 7:17 p.m. In attendance was committee members Kelly, Heeman, and Broussard, the rest of council, Council President Jones, Clerk of Council, Mayor Kennedy, the Finance, Planning, Safety Service, and Law Directors, Recreation Commissioner Drensky, the City Engineer, and guests. Under discussion were resolutions 2020-60 and 2020-61. 2020-61 was discussed first. This is the walking path at North Olmsted Park. Director Lieber stated that a $500 donation had been pledged for that. the county grant of $100,000 plus engineering fee of $10,325 and $1,500 for advertising. Minus that $500 would be the cost. After a short discussion, a motion was made and seconded to move the resolution to full council for a vote. Committee voted 3-0 to recommend to council. 2020-60 was discussed next. This is the Pocket Park on Butternut Road. Director Lieber stated that she has donations reaching $9,000 to offset the $10,000 city obligation to go with the $50,000 county grant. Discussion was held. I still had an issue with using any city funds for this park. And after some more discussion, the motion was made and seconded to recommend to council, and it failed of a vote of 1-4 and 2 against. The meeting was adjourned at 7:42 p.m. Madam President,
Councilman Kelly.
I'd like to amend resolution or make a motion to amend resolution 2020-60 for a new section 3 that would read that any financial contributions required of the city of North Olmsted for the completion of this project must be reimbursed by donations in an amount equal to the $10,000. And I ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to amend resolution 2020-60 made by Councilman Kelly, seconded by Councilwoman Heeman. Roll call, please.
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Ms. Seaman,
Yes.
Mr. Glassberg,
Yes.
Mr. Broussard,
No with comment. I believe there needs to be a high level of trust with our directors as well as our very generous donors. And I do take them at their word. So therefore, I do not need the additional proposed language to move forward. My vote is no.
Mr. Schuman,
No, and with a comment, I also feel that the director has said that she has the cash or commitments in hand, and that's good enough for me. Thank you.
Mr. Limpert,
Mr. Limpert, please
Mr.
unmute
Limpert?
your mic.
Yes.
Ms. Williamson,
My vote is no, and I would follow with council members Broussard and Schuman on their comments. Thank you.
Resolution 2020-60 is amended with a vote of 4-3.
Thank you, Madam President. That ends my report.
Thank you. Are there any letters or communications to come before council at this time?
yes, Madam President. Mr. Johnson mailed a letter to council, a copy of which was emailed to everyone on Friday. It shares his concerns about ordinance 2020-55. A copy will also be attached to the minutes of this meeting.
Thank you. Thank you for joining our council meeting tonight. At this time, council will hear comments from the public. Please remember to state your name and address for our clerk. If you live in a city other than North Olmsted, please state the name of that city and proceed with your comments. We will start with those who have notified us via chat. Anyone who has not notified us via the chat feature who would like to comment, please unmute your phone and start your comment when prompted. Council Clerk, has anyone notified you that they would like to comment this evening via chat?
No, Madam President.
Thank you. At this time, if there is anyone on the phone who would like to comment, please address council now. Yes, Mr. Sturgeon.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that.
I'm sorry, Mr. Sturgeon. If you could state your name and address for our clerk, please.
Oh, sorry. Jeff Sturgeon, 3092 West 231, North Olmsted.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say that personally, I was privileged and honored to work on the Charter Review Commission. I'm very proud that we were able to get that report done on time, as we stated that we would at the beginning. I've never done anything like that before. I will still do this. We still have another 4.5 years to go if anything else comes back. And I think I can say for the rest of the commission that we will be there should something else come back. I can honestly believe that everything was extremely thought out well by everybody on this commission, and including all the letters that were received by us, and just really proud to be able to have done it. And it was an honor being able to have done that. And I want to thank you guys very much. And I also have a question. When the council has a discussion on this, your meetings on this, will those meetings be available to the public, or are those going to be not available to the public? And are there going to be special meetings strictly for the charter, you guys reviewing the charter?
Sure. So first off, on behalf of council and our city, we appreciate your dedication to serving our community through the Charter Review Commission this year, and especially considering the unfortunate timing of the pandemic. And you and your committee came forward and worked through that, and we appreciate that level of commitment. And so we thank you for that. Second, to address your question, yes, actually anytime that council meets, whether it's in committee format or council as a whole, all of those meetings are always open to the public. We would welcome anyone to attend our meetings, and we will certainly, through our clerk, publicize when those meetings will be, and definitely invite the public to attend those meetings. It will be online, as far as we know right now, due to City Hall still being closed because of the pandemic. But again, the same way that people are welcome to attend our council meetings via GoToMeeting right now, they will be able to attend to listen to the conversations and the votes that council will take on the Charter Review Committee recommendations.
Thank you very much. Again, it was an honor doing this, and I also learned a lot about city law, the way this works and everything. And I learned to also have a lot higher respect for everybody on this council. I realize that everybody does, the job that you do. It's not easy, and this was a very good learning experience. And I cannot say how grateful I am to have done it. And I'm going to keep on doing this. And thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Sturgeon. Are there any more comments from our guests this evening? Seeing none, we will now move into legislation.
Legislation on third reading. Ordinance 2020-55, introduced by Mayor Kennedy. An ordinance authorizing the mayor and finance director to enter into an amendment of the sewer service area defined by Exhibit B of the sewer service agreement with the County of Cuyahoga as amended and restated in 2013, and declaring an emergency as amended.
Madam President,
Councilwoman Heeman.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt 2020-55 and ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to adopt ordinance 2020-55 made by Councilwoman Heeman, seconded by Councilman Glassburn. Roll call, please.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Mr. Glassburn? Mr. Glassburn?
No.
Mr. Schuman?
No.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Mr. Broussard?
Yes.
Ordinance 2020-55 is adopted with a vote of 5-2.
Legislation on second reading. Ordinance 2020-45, introduced by Mayor Kennedy. An ordinance to levy sidewalk assessments upon listed real property for the total cost incurred by the city of North Olmsted to repair, replace, or construct sidewalks adjacent thereto, as such improvements were deemed necessary and installed pursuant to the 2019 sidewalk program in the city of North Olmsted as amended. Resolution 2020-58, introduced by Mayor Kennedy. A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a master cooperation agreement with Cuyahoga County for preventative maintenance services and reimbursement of funds expended by the city of North Olmsted. Resolution 2020-59, introduced by Mayor Kennedy. A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a mutual aid agreement with Ohio WARN, a statewide water wastewater agency response network, WARN. Resolution 2020-60, introduced by Mayor Kennedy. A resolution authorizing the Director of Planning and Community Development to advertise for bids for construction services and to solicit proposals for design services for the Butternut Ridge Pocket Park project, and further appropriating funds for said project, and additionally authorizing the mayor, after approval by the Board of Control, to enter into contracts with the lowest and best bidder and the selected design professional as amended. Resolution 2020-61, introduced by Mayor Kennedy. A resolution authorizing the Director of Planning and Community Development to advertise for bids for construction services for the North Olmsted Community Park Walking Path project, and further appropriating funds for said project, and additionally authorizing the mayor, after approval by the Board of Control, to enter into a contract with the lowest and best bidder. Legislation on first reading. Resolution 2020-62, a resolution adopting the alternative tax budget of the city of North Olmsted for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2021, and submitting the same to the Cuyahoga County Fiscal Officer and its Budget Commission, and declaring an emergency.
Madam President,
Mayor,
I'd like to introduce and place on first reading.
thank you. Councilman Schuman, looking to schedule Finance Committee for Tuesday, June 16th.
Yes, Madam President, I would like to have a Finance Committee meeting June 16th at 7 o'clock to discuss 2020-62, and we can decide about special meeting at that time or at the caucus to follow.
Thank you. Is there a motion on the floor to adjourn into executive session to discuss the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee?
Madam President, I'll make a motion.
Councilman Picard?
It's fine.
I'll make that motion, Madam President.
I'll second it.
Motion to adjourn into executive session to discuss the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee made by Councilman Broussard, seconded by Councilwoman Williamson. Roll call, please.
Mr. Broussard?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Schuman?
Yes.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Heeman?
Yes.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
That motion has passed with a vote of 7-0. Council will now move into executive session at 8:40 p.m. I ask that council members please mute their microphones and turn off your cameras on this meeting, and follow the instructions sent earlier today to join the executive session meeting. I will wait 3 minutes from now to give everyone a chance to get dialed in. If you have any issues logging in, please reach out to our clerk so that he can notify me. Once the executive session has ended, council will return to this meeting to conclude our regularly scheduled council meeting.
This conference will now be recorded.
Thank you. The executive session is adjourned and the regular council meeting is resuming at 9:22 p.m. With the agenda being completed and there being no further business to come before council, this meeting of June 2nd, 2020 is adjourned at 9:22 p.m.